One of our audience members told me not to gaslight you guys that PC gaming is not expensive. I don't have to do anything. I'm one of those people where I'll put my money where my mouth is, because if I'm gonna make a claim, that claim better be, on point, because this is kind of like, what we did back in the day coming up. I have shown my receipts from around 2024. I think I picked up the habit of building PCs that I was telling people were cheap, and I didn't need them. I have some of them sitting over here. In fact, I converted one build that I made last year that I was showing you the pricing and showing you the components. I converted it into a Steam machine because I know, and I truly am convinced, that you will get the best benefit from a PC ecosystem. In fact, the reason I don't even tell Xbox gamers anymore about PC is because you're already PC gamers. And that's a great thing. You now have some of the benefits to the PC ecosystem when you choose and when you please. And believe you me, it's going to rock. For instance, let's say there are a few or a handful of games that you're playing on Game Pass that are Play Anywhere titles, and you don't want to pay $30 for Game Pass Ultimate. You pay for Game Pass PC, and you fire up your Xbox PC device or whatever it is, and you use it at the time. Nothing wrong with that. That's pretty much one of the benefits out there. You have the option to be able to do that. And it's cool. You can synergize both of them too, which is even better. You get the best of both worlds, because some things exist on the console that don't exist on the PC side. I've mentioned this many times before. And so with this conversation right now of the RAM and all of this other stuff, you have to go ahead and now ask and say, but VG, why would you even say, because my last video where I talked about it, I was saying, that you can still build a PC right now and still build one for a decent amount of money. And people were like, nah, there's no way you can do that. Don't jump in to the mindset of what a lot of the news media wants you to jump into. They sell, right, clicks based on controversy. They sell clicks based on things being, controversial and things being a little up in arms. If not, why would you click? If someone doesn't sound an alarm, you probably won't click their article. You probably won't see what's going on. This is where you take a deep breath. And if you want to build a PC, build one. Because there are other components that are actually part of the PC ecosystem. And some of them, they don't necessarily go up in price because their demand is not as high. Does that make sense? Like, for instance, RAM modules, you can basically build RAM module-based systems up to 128 gigs of RAM. Some people go crazy depending on what they're building with all these AI servers. There is that market that can actually allow for people to want to go ahead and do all of that, right? But with the CPU, they're not fighting against the gamer or the regular user with CPU class. They're buying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 CPUs to run their servers. That's just, they have a different market for that. For motherboards even, they have a different market for that, right? It's just that RAM just happens to be the nexus where both of them meet. For GPUs, they also have a market for that. They use different kinds of GPUs for those who are serious about it. Those AI centers don't use your freaking 5090 class GPUs. They use GPUs that are geared towards more processing. You can use the 5090 class GPUs, but not going to get your bang for buck in that regard. So these companies already make those devices in those classes that meet those needs. And again, it just happens to be that RAM is the one that overlaps. No need to go start making RAM that does this. Think for some strange engineering reason, everybody uses basically similar kinds of RAM depending on, the use case that they're trying to find, right? So again, if this one component is the breaking point or the big deciding factor, and you're sitting and saying, well, this actually prices me out of the market, I have to say, if you want, I'm not saying that you should go do this. I'm just saying if you want a PC or you want a Steam machine or whatever it is, it's time for you to, sit down and now actually learn the engineering, because everything that those who have advantage, everything that they do is based off of knowledge. For instance, the big companies, they know what it is that they want. They know how to get what they want. And they're actually very good at sourcing things in a way that the regular individual can't. But the regular individual is not necessarily cut out from these systems if they choose to know and find inroads to be able to benefit themselves. This has always been the case. It's just like some of you who, when you finally go sit down with an accountant or somebody who actually knows a little bit about taxes, and you open your eyes to a new avenue that you can actually use to reduce your tax burden. You feel empowered, right? You feel knowledgeable. They're like, oh my gosh, like if you're a student, or maybe say, you run your business at home, right? There are ways that you can, that are there for you to use to leverage reducing your tax burden if you follow the IRS, guidelines, and you follow the law. And you have somebody that teaches you and shows you. So in this case, what I've seen, though, is a resistance to actually learning. And I have to put it out there. Whenever we talk about this, and those on console hear it, you have this resistance that happens. And so I got to go and say, okay, if you don't want to learn, that's fine. No one is forcing you. But if you do, there is AM4 as a platform. There's old Intel as a platform. You don't have to jump into DDR5 just immediate. Like, you know what I mean? And I was saying AM4 was good. And everybody was getting after me saying, VG, AM4 is outdated. Is it? Because your wallet says otherwise, and the price increases that I'm seeing on it says otherwise. So y'all were basically fronting for me because the technology is viable. I use AM4. I use AM5. And bro, I can't even sit there at any given point and tell you what the freaking difference is. I'm just being honest. Like, y'all basically bought into now, yes, there's probably the case where you see but my goodness, what are we doing here? 10 extra FPS? In which games? That the ones you're playing that your AM4 can't already run very well? And when I say AM4 and AM5, ladies and gentlemen, please bear with me. I know some of you are probably thinking, okay, let me go ahead and stop yelling and let me go ahead and educate because, I was just talking about that crap just now. So PC part picker. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in right here. So walk with me on this. PC Part Picker is this website that lets you go ahead and build your own builds. I already have an AM4 build here. This AM4 is a 10-year-old platform that is still kicking like a freaking stallion. You know what I mean? Like it just hits different. And things are great, right? Because the options are here. So AM5 shows up with Intel and AMD jumping into this new architecture of DDR5 compatible devices. And, people start talking about AM5 as the next platform. I laughed and I was like, this is a PC gamer tradition. The newest is always the greatest. Everybody wants to do that. And I'm like, that's not how I operate. I leverage technology until that technology is rendered useless. And then I'll keep it as a relic and as a old, remember the days. I still use an iPhone 11. Works just right. Works just fine. When it finally craps out or if it damages or breaks, that's when I'm going to change to another phone. Not bothering with that. And I do my computing the exact same way. My Steam machine has in it Ryzen 5 5500, which is a 3.6 gigs, 6-core processor. It's a $74 CPU. Your savings are still intact. Let them take that RAM and let them shove it where the sun don't shine. You don't have to go ahead and buy yourself 16 gigs of big fat RAM today. You can always pretty much inch your way into it once the prices eventually calm down. They will come down. They have to come down. They will price a huge market out, which they would love to make money both from. Don't be fooled. They want to make money from the big AI chasers, but they also want to make money from you. You, the customer, you always have the say. If your money is not good enough for Hynix, it'll be good enough for freaking whoever else is making RAM. And when I say Hynix, that's like one of the companies that makes RAMs that I know from a manufacturer perspective. I'm not talking about everybody else that buys the RAM and slaps their case on it and then say, oh, this is our RAM. No, I'm talking about the people that are the players of these things. I think Hynix is one of them, yeah, if I'm correct. Motherboards on AM4, they finally came down. At first, they were all jumping up. They were trying to price you out of AM4. They started to come down. I was laughing because I was like, whoa, look at that's your savings right there. Memory storage. This is outrageous. I gotta be honest with you. This is stupid. Hold on, let's find you some storage. What are we doing here? 1 terabyte, $79. It's up. That's Black Friday up. They're going to then cut it and be like, oh, look at this deal. Go look at the price. Find the one you want. Samsung 90 Evo. I'm not touching that. Get out of here. Everybody, people, whatever. I will usually go for like Kingston. I'm the Kingston, Samsung. Who's going to give me the cheapest memory? Because it's going to die. When it dies, we'll clone the freaking thing. What is this? $79. Go look at the price. See it? Look at the price history. See, it was about 60 something dollars. Now they want 70 something bucks, and they want to keep it that way. Notice that jump. It was about 60 something dollars in places like B&H. So again, you have information at your fingertips. Don't sleep on it. Okay, don't sleep on it. Let's go back. And now your video cards, 6600. Nobody has any pricing on 6600. Let's go to products. Let's go to GPUs. And they're already talking about GPUs going to go up in price. They want to capitalize on the craze. Don't let them get you though while they're at it. This is the 9060 XT, decent card, according to reviews and stuff. The 9070 XT, guys, this card, I can't believe the amount of sleeping on this card that's going on. This is a card that throws punches with the 4080. A 4080 was $1,200 at launch. Do you understand the technology that you're about to leverage for $700? You got to understand, there's no console that plays anything or does anything in terms of power like a 4080 does. They're not doing it. 4080 laptop technology a few years ago was like $2,500. Before they put that kind of technology equal into, consoles, man, it's going to be a long day and a long wait. So looking at this, and this is another thing, people say, well, it's a $600 graphics, $670. Do you know what you're buying, though, in terms of that? It's actually quite decent. Now, we're not looking at the pre-COVID days anymore, right? Because RAM, basically, that's what RAM did. It went back to the COVID pricing, which was, based out of scarcity and all that. And then we go to RAM. Let's go to RAM. Let's just go ahead and, rip the Band-Aid off. Where's the freaking memory? Come here. Where is it at? There we go. Choose memory. 16 gig DDR4. There was a time I'll tell you never buy that. In fact, this thing was like $50 a few weeks ago, and I was complaining. I was like, Silicon Power, who the flip do you think you are? Silicon Power is actually it's actually more expensive than Corsair Vengeance. I can't believe my eyes. Even when Corsair starts to become the reasonable RAM kit at Best Buy, this is probably going to be on a, hey, don't come by too much. Look at that. Look at the craziness. Look at this. Look at this thing. Look at what they were selling this stuff here before, and then look at what we're doing now. It just doubled, right? It just doubled. So, again, if you really do want to build one, you can build one. You can build one. Don't lose heart. If you're thinking that this is the deterrent from building one, you're wrong. Stop it. Let's see what the 8 gig modules are. 8 gig modules and VG, but you can't play video games with 8 gigs of RAM. Shut up. With all due respect, that is. I mean, like, hush. I don't want to hear you talk. Y'all talk as if 8 gigs of RAM. Oh my gosh, like your computer's gonna explode. Go look at your minimum requirements of the games you're playing. That's how you're an engineer now. Like, you're gonna sit there and be doing what they do on Twitter. Like, stop. Sorry, I'm ranty. What is this? Oloy. Nah, this doesn't exist. They have this? No way. Hold on. Guys, it's real. I just checked Amazon and they have these RAM kits. The brand is like not necessarily like your crazy highest brand, but you know what? Did I say I put my money where my mouth is at the beginning of this video? Give me 5 seconds. Got it. Done. I'm going to put it in my Steam machine. My Steam machine has 16 gigs of RAM right now. I'm going to take those two. I'm going to put it in there. We're going to run a video for you guys so that you guys can see if 8 gigs is the end of your life. Okay? And I have the GPU in that Steam machine is a 6750. I enjoy doing this stuff, by the way. I don't know. And y'all always drag me. Why do y'all always drag me into this stuff like during this holiday period? Last time I did the AM51 and all that stuff, man. You Xbox guys, you're too expensive, man. Golly. Microsoft is burning through cash trying to make you guys happy. Like, it's insane. Oh my gosh. I should never have bothered making content that is in any way related to you guys. Some days that's how I feel. I'm like, these guys. Let me see what the 6750 XD is like on. They don't sell it anymore. Yeah, this is the same one that I have, and it's now $379. I gotta go report that purchase to budget committee, but budget committee isn't gonna care. But still, we always talk about it. Like, hey, doing a video on this and blah blah blah. 12 gigs of memory, and who's selling this one? Amazon selling this one for $379, used from $329. Yep, you should definitely buy that used one from $329 if you want, or you go buy yourself a 3060. Very good card. I was been talking about, but 3060. Shoosh. Buy you a $250 12 gig memory card right here. That's gonna run your games decently well. It's gonna run you anything on the market, anything. These developers need to optimize their games, is what we've been saying. Are we not looking at Arc Raiders now? All of a sudden, no one is talking. Have you noticed how Unreal Engine 5 is now, nothing wrong is wrong with the freaking engine anymore? But when I was saying it a few months ago, I was getting bashed all over the place. It's all right, though. That's how it is when you sound crazy. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, we'll see, what this looks like with 8 gigs of RAM and a Steam machine, okay? Because the operating system is free. Unlike that guy on Twitter that said, operating system, $50. You just download Basseye for free. Oh, man, goodness. All right, peace out.